Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are all doing really well. So today I wanted to go through basically shopping through my shelves for a stack of books that I thought would sound really good for us to include in the Haunted Victorian book club. So if you guys aren't members of the book club and would like to be, of course, I'll have all of the links down below. So basically we pick a book a month, and it's going to be changing up here pretty soon, but more details to come on that actually in another video. But a book is picked basically every month. We read it independently and you can discuss over on my Discord channel, and then the following weekend after the end of the month I have a live show with a couple of guests, and you guys can stop in and put in your comments and we all discuss how we like the book. So I only started this book club in December, and I'm actually really happy with how it's going so far. Everyone seems to be having a really good time, and I'm getting lots of great feedback from everybody. So I thought, you know, I was down here just kind of mulling through my books and I said, why don't I just kind of shop my shelves for books that would sound really good for the book club. So I hope you guys enjoy the video, and even if you're not members of the book club, I mean, I hope you enjoy getting to know these books as well, and maybe there's a couple on here that you can add to your own TBRs. So I've got quite a stack here, and all of these of course are kind of gothic adjacent, Victorian inspired type spooky books, I would say. So this is kind of the feel that I wanted to have for the book club. It's not gothic or gothic classics specifically, but just kind of has all of those feels. So the first one that I picked off of the shelves is one that I got, I believe, last year or maybe the end of the year before. Still haven't gotten into it. This is called Ghosts by Gaslight, edited by Jack Dan and Nick Gervers. Stories of steampunk and supernatural suspense. So this of course is an anthology of short stories, and it says 17 all new stories illuminate the steampunk world of fog and fear. So this is definitely the ambiance that I want to go for this book club. If you guys have ever read this, let me know. I thought this sounds fantastic. I want everything kind of, like I said, gothic adjacent, and gas lamp. So this sounds perfect. The only thing I don't like about this book is the font is very small and my eyes are terrible. So hopefully I can find this one on digital copy as well, or maybe on audiobook. But yeah, this one sounded fantastic. So I'm actually going to stay with the anthologies for a little bit here. So I've got these two as well. One is called, they're both from the Usborne or Usborne Classics series. So I thought this was actually the same book with two different covers, but it's not. So the first one is the Usborne Classics Retold, Victorian horror stories, and I mean, it has a foggy cemetery on the front with a lovely full moon over here. I mean, this just sounds fantastic. And you know, I have no problem sticking a lot of short stories into my TBRs. I find if I'm getting really bogged down with my reading, just picking up some short stories in a month really kind of breaks me out of it, and this is very small as well. So I thought these would be really fun to discuss with the book club. And then the other one that I have is just Victorian ghost stories retold by Mike Stocks, and this has a wonderfully shiny cover with a ghastly ghoul on the front. So I thought this one looked really super cute as well. I found these kind of in the middle grade section at my used bookstore, so I thought these would be really fun. So like I said, sticking with the anthologies here for a little bit. And then back to the Gaslight sort of theme, we have Gaslight Grotesque, Nightmare Tales of Sherlock Holmes. So I thought this would be really interesting. So the cover is what struck me first and foremost about this. And on the back here it says, "The monsters are due on Baker Street. Between the shadowy realms of fear and the unforgiving glare of science lies a battlefield of unspeakable horror. In vile alleyways with blood-soaked cobblestones, impenetrable fog, and the wan glow of gaslight, lurk the inhuman denizens of nightmares. So doesn't that sound so good? I'm so excited to get into these books with you guys. I'm hoping these are easy to find. So I have had a couple of people like contact me a few times and they're like, you know, I'm on a book buying ban or I can't find it or whatever. You know, check out your library, because I find that my library is a great resource, and oftentimes they will bring in books if you specifically request them. So one thing that I want to start doing is making sure that I put the monthly choices out quite a bit in advance so that everybody has time to kind of decide how they're going to get their copies, whether it's ebook, audiobook, physical copy through the library. They have to order it in, whatever, and then, you know, make sure everybody wants to take part. And then the other suggestion that I had is to do, instead of doing like, say, you know, a full year of choices, because I'm a mood reader, so, and most of us are, probably put out 3 months at a time, and then, you know, everybody can kind of work their reading around, because we all plan our TBRs a little bit differently. So then if you know what's coming up for at least the next 2 to 3 months, then you know, we could probably plan a little bit better. So if you guys have any suggestions for the book club, make sure you put them either down below or in the Discord, because I love getting suggestions, because, you know, I've never done this before. And then the last two I had were ones that I was actually going to read in December myself, and I ended up not reading them. I was in quite a big reading slump in December, but I definitely thought for, you know, thematic sort of Creepmas vibes, we do have the Victorian ghost stories anthologies, which I thought would be fun. So there's a whole series of these. I only have one of them. This is just the first volume. So we have this one and the Old Magic of Christmas. So this is kind of Yuletide legends that are wrapped into this sort of anthology. So really not the right time of year to be talking about these, but just to give you an idea of what we would be reading during that time of the year. And then getting into more along the lines of novels that I found on my shelves that sounded good to me were this one, A Shadow on the Wall by Jonathan Aycliffe. So it says, some things are best left undisturbed. In a countryside of Victorian England, Edward Atherton, rector of Thornham St. Stephen, has taken on the arduous task of restoring the local church, whose foundations go back many centuries, but he never should have meddled with the tomb that lay beneath the church's crumbling walls. After Atherton falls deathly ill under mysterious circumstances, his brother Matthew calls upon fellow antiquarian and Cambridge professor Richard Asquith to help investigate the unsettling events that begin in the wake of the tomb's disturbance. So that's all I needed. Victorian England sounds fantastic to me. I've actually never heard of this book, like, for anybody else talking about it, so super excited for this one. And then we have this one, The Mist in the Mirror by Susan Hill. So this is a very short book. And of course, Susan Hill is quite famous for The Woman in Black and other sorts of books. So this one on the back, it says, for the last 20 years, Sir James Monmouth has journeyed all over the globe in the footsteps of his hero, the great pioneer traveler Conrad Vane, in an effort to learn more about Vane's early life and his own. Sir James sets off for the remote Kittisker Hall on a cold and rainy winter night, but he soon begins to feel as though something is warning him at every turn, for Kittisker Hall is hiding a terrible secret that will bind their lives together in ways he never could have imagined. So doesn't that sound great? So like I said, this is a really short one, and I really enjoyed The Woman in Black when I read it, much better than the movie adaptation, of course, so I thought I'd stick this one on here as well. And next up we have The Haunting of Eliza Belray by Chris Wooding. So this is another one I had never heard of, either the title or the author, and it says on the back, Thaniel, just 17, is a witch hunter. Together he and Kathleen, his friend and mentor, track down fearful creatures that lurk in the old quarter of London. It is on one of these haunts that he first encounters Eliza Belray. Eliza, half crazed, lovely, and possessed. Whatever dreadful entity has entered her soul has turned her into a strange, unearthly magnet, attracting evil and drawing horrors from every dark corner. Kathleen and Thaniel must discover its cause and defend humanity at all costs. So it almost has very much like a a Buffy sort of feel in this book. So I thought this sounded really, really cool. And like I said, this is one that I hadn't heard of anybody else reading, and it's one that I just picked up at the used bookstore. So if you know anything about this one, let me know. And then two, on my shelves, I had two books by Laura Purcell. Now, I've only read one book by Laura Purcell so far. I read it on audiobook a little while ago, and it was just okay for me. But I know that The Silent Companions is a really, really popular one of hers. And I also have this one called The Shape of Darkness. And I know she's a wonderful Gothic writer. So it says, Purcell is fast establishing herself as the doyenne of Gothic mystery. Niftily plotted, it's one to read with the lights blazing and the door bolted. So, I mean, I definitely want all the feels of both of these. So I'm really behind the 8 ball on The Silent Companions. I know a lot of people have read it. I'm a little bit nervous to put it in as a choice for the book club because I know a lot of people have already read this one. But maybe The Shape of Darkness is one that we can read together. And this is another one that I haven't heard of before, and it's super, super short. So this is Wildfell by Michael Rowe, a Shirley Jackson Award finalist, which is pretty cool. It says on the back, she has been waiting in the dark more than 100 years. The crumbling estate called Wildfell, soaring above the desolate shores of Blackmore Island, has weathered the violence of the seasons for more than a century. Built for his family by a 19th century politician of impeccable rectitude, the house has kept its terrible secrets and its darkness sealed within its walls. For hundreds of years, the townspeople of Elvina have prayed that the darkness inside Wildfell would stay there, locked away from the light. And then of course somebody comes in and disturbs everything, all hell breaks loose, and all of the spooky comes out to the forefront. So this sounds absolutely fantastic, and this is one actually that I just realized would go really, really well in the Gothic Hearts Reading Challenge. If you haven't seen my announcement video, I am one of the co-hosts this year. So the Gothic Hearts Reading Challenge is going to take place in February, and it's all centered around Gothic feels and Gothic romance. So this one definitely would fit in here. I actually really like the sound of this. I might stick it on my list here pretty soon. And then a couple of more. So this one is a modern Gothic sounding story, The House of 100 Whispers by Graham Masterton. And it's blurbed by Stephen King, and he says, God, it's good. So it says, on a windswept moor, an old house guards its secrets. All Hallows Hall is a rambling Tudor mansion on the edge of a bleak and misty moor. It is not a place many would consider to live. Yet the former governor of Dartmoor Prison has done just that. Now his dead, and his children long estranged, are set to inherit the estate. So, you know, family drama, all the secrets, haunted manor house on the misty moors. There's nothing else that I want more right now in my reading. So, you know, light the candles and dress in black or your long flowing nightgown, and this is definitely one that I want to curl up with. So if this sounds good to you, I'll put this in as one of the choices for the book club as well. And just a couple of more. I do have some more books, but I didn't want to keep this list too long. So I do have a whole bunch in this series. So this is the House on Trad Street series. So this is book 1, and you know, I don't think I would want to put an entire series in the book club, but if we're reading just the first in a series, and then if people like it, they can carry on. I think that's how I would want it to go, because I want to make sure that everyone is able to take part. So this is about a lady who basically inherits a Victorian estate that's haunted. So it says, practical Melanie Middleton hates to admit she can see ghosts, but she's going to have to accept it. An old man she recently met has died, leaving her a historic Trad Street home, complete with a housekeeper, a dog, and a family of ghosts, ancient to tell their secrets. So this sounds good, but it also reminds me of a book that I just DNF'd a couple of months ago called The September House, which I absolutely hated because it wasn't written as a haunted house story. It was written kind of like a thriller comedy, I guess you would say, with a little bit of family drama wrapped in. So we're gonna have to give this one a go. I don't know a whole lot about the author. I know there's a lot of these books. I actually have like 4 or 5 of them over there on the shelf because, You know, I always say only buy book 1 in a series because you don't know if you're going to like it, and then I get wrapped into a sale or whatever and I end up buying 4 or 5 of them. So hoping this one is going to work out. And then last but not least, I have mentioned a couple of times on the channel that I've been really craving vampires lately. So these are 2, that I picked up at the used bookstore for just a couple of dollars. So this is Vampire Plagues, London 1850 and Paris 1850 by Sebastian Rook. So these are obviously taking place in the time period that I love, and it has all of the vampire feels. So it says, an ancient evil, a doomed expedition, the heart of a British Empire is about to fall prey to an unspeakable curse. So that's all I needed to know. I don't want to read too much, and then of course it has the same sort of situation on the back of the other one. An ancient evil, a ritual gone wrong. The vampire plague is threatening like never before. So, you know, I mean, they're just kind of young adult sort of novels. So that's the other thing too, within the book club, like myself and like most people, I do want to have adult, middle grade, and YA books, so we all have a little bit of a choice to pick. So yeah, that's all the books that or most of the books that are on my shelves that I thought would be really good choices to fit into the book club. Again, if you don't know anything about it, a few videos back I had my announcement video, and there's a Discord server, there's an Instagram page that's been set up, and I'm really proud of everybody that's taken part. We've had great discussions, and in the month of January, so right now we are reading Phantom of the Opera, and I will have the live show coming up on February the 3rd. So there you guys go. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and the choices that I picked that are going to be probably upcoming over the next little while in the book club. It's not only going to be these choices, these are just the books that I happen to own in physical form. So if you have any suggestions, make sure you leave them down below. Make sure you give me a thumbs up on this video, and if you have any questions, you can leave them down below as well. But until next time, stay spooky everybody. Bye!